Hi everyone, welcome to YourPedia and this is Shubha. So in this video I'm going to talk about the news that has been quite disturbing in nature and it has filled our heart with emotions. You remember that we were still discussing about Kolkata rape and murder case? We were still talking about women empowerment, women reservation, we were talking about feminism, about Delhi rape and murder case and whatnot. Today we are being introduced with a new case. The case of Bengaluru techie, the suicide case of Atul Subhash. It is quite disturbing to know the kind of statements which he has mentioned in his video. If you are familiarized with that content, I hope that you all are aware about it. The generic information is one part, but to know what things he has mentioned in his video is what I'm going to discuss in this video of mine. Here in this video, I'm going to talk about the misuse of section 498A IPC which he has mentioned in his video, guys. But first, you need to know that what is this section all about. Section 498A, that lists that there should be protection given to the married women in case they are facing some kind of a cruelty from their in-law side, from their husband. So basically this section was just meant for the protection of the ladies related to cruelty, the domestic violence in case of any physical or mental harassment they are going or they are facing through. Same provisions, same things are what is listed in section 84 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023 BNS. It deals with the same provision and that is to protect married women from being subjected to cruelty by their husband or their relative side. And yes, it has a penalization of, you can say, minimum you have to be into the extent of 3 years and also a fine has to be paid. And this is something very important, that this offense is cognizable, it is non-bailable offense, that the person can get arrested without warrant. So first you need to understand what this section is all about. You all have the generic information. He mentions lots about these kind of, you can say, the provisions which are being provided to women. There is a kind of a misuse. I'm not going to talk about the person was talking about the right things, wrong things. We are not aware about it and we are not going to discuss about it. I don't have that authority. I'm just going to tell you that the extracts, the information which he has provided, what is the exact or what is the something that you should be aware about, what this section improvises and how it is being misused today. Then for the purpose of this section, there is a word that cruelty, if the married lady faces some kind of a cruelty. The cruelty does not mean that there is only the breakage of limb is there or some kind of there is a physical handicap is being done to the lady, but it leads to some kind of a mental harassment also if a lady faces. That is also what it means to the cruelty. That means any kind of an act, any kind of things that drive the woman to commit suicide, any kind of an injury that is being done on the women's body, or there's any kind of a mental harassment to meet some kind of an unlawful demand or any kind of nature which is not through her willingness, that leads to the mental or physical cruelty. It can be related to the sexual assaults, it can be related to the kind of physical harassment, mental harassment, demands, anything. So that is what the cruelty actually means in this section. Now coming to the next part, that is what are the essential elements that if a person who has for the commission of offense of 498A, there are certain elements, and the very first thing is that the lady should be married. Only the married lady, they can only avail, or you can say they can only file the cases under this act. So she must be subjected to some kind of a cruelty, she must be married, and yes, the cruelty should be shown either from the side of her husband or from the in-law side. So it is basically, it would be her husband, her mother-in-law, her any person who is related to the family side of the husband. If they are, you can say, they are harming her, they are pressurizing her, they are harassing her, only in these conditions she can file, or she has the offense comes under section 498A. Now, obviously, there are certain provisions, certain measures that has been proposed to address the misuse, that if there is an address, see, there is a law, but if we are making a strict adherence to that law, only then we can get a safeguard. We can say that the people, the misuse can be protected, and that is if preliminary inquiry by police is done, so that all the frivolous complaints, all the complaints which feel that they are faking it out, they could be checked out. So very first is that the police should make a very good or a preliminary inquiry should be done and strict adherence should be there. Mandatory counseling of couples before filing the case. The couples should be made set and they should be inquired properly. Their counseling should be done. And then it is regarding the statements of both the parties under supervision. So the statements of both the parties should be recorded so that in future there is no gameplay, there is no false play, nothing like this is there. So what can be done to actually scrutinize the section 498A so that no misuse is there and the people, only the ladies who are actually suffering can avail the, you can say, the benefit, can get a safeguard from this section. Then it is how the amendment of the legal provisions can be done. Introducing stricter provision for filing false cases. If a person does any kind of a false play, there should be a strict, I would say, that a big punishment for that person, because what goes of the other person is maybe his life, and what goes of the girl or maybe the other person, on the other hand, it would be just a false play. Then it is about clarifying the definition of cruelty. What does the cruelty actually means? Because what is the meaning of cruelty? No one knows. The people would say, they would come, oh, he has harassed me, but on what grounds? What he has done to you? The cruelty, the meaning, the definition should be clarified. What does cruelty actually means? No vague interpretation of these should be done. Making bail more accessible in cases where there are prime facie evidence of misuse. If a police feels that no, the person is faking, there is a kind of frivolous complaint, or there is not any kind of, you can say, some proof is there, so that should be bailable one, because 498A provision that states it's a non-bailable one, it's a cognizable offense. Then it should be bailable instead of non-bailable. Public awareness, you should be educating the people about the consequences. If you do any kind of a false accusation, there will be an equal kind of, you can say, a strict punishment for you also. Promoting responsible use for law, and the use of law should be encouraged, encouraging alternative disputes, that how we can resolve the disputes, the mechanism, and I would say that harassing any person, male, made female, both the sides, it's wrong. It's going to cost the life of other person, but we should be at least have certain humanity in ourselves. Then it's about the judicial reforms. Speedy disposal of the cases to prevent prolonged harassment. So yes, this is very much required in India, that the disposal of cases should be speedy in nature, because we have seen that some cases they take years, the judgment takes years to be passed, and that's not justified. Then it is sensitized, you would say that you have to judges and magistrates about the potential for misuse. So you have to sensitize the judges if in case they even are considered that they are even captured in some kind of a false play or something. So even there would be a kind of a strict punishment for them also. Regular monitoring of cases by higher court. So if it is district court, higher court, Supreme Court. So there should be monitoring done of these cases. Next is about the social reforms we have mentioned, addressing societal pressures, gender stereotypes that contribute to misuse, promoting healthy family relationships, and the communication should be promoted so that there is no conflicts, no certain grounds of conflicts, that cruelty and all these things are put to an end. Guys, you need to understand one terminology, and that is related to gender neutrality. You have seen in every, you would say that if you will just start reading the sections also, if she is harmed, if she is put into this, I'm not talking about that only she should be taken into consideration. Why not he? He can also be harmed. He can also be put into certain, you can say, complications. He can be also harassed. So we should be addressing gender neutrality. I'm not talking about any kind of women empowerment, feminism. No, my role is that we should be promoting gender neutrality. And what is gender neutrality all about? Why it should be promoted, that you need to know. There are certain reasons that it promotes equality, because yes, gender neutral laws, they ensure that the fairness and equal treatment should be there for all the people, for in spite of their gender. It would prevent discrimination, reflect the modern society which we actually want. Even feminism is not that we are putting or we are dragging the shoes of the men or we are pulling the leg of the men. No. We just want an equal ground, and that could be promoted by promoting gender neutrality. It is not about which sex you are. It is about on what grounds or who is right or who is wrong. That should be promoted. Then it is a protection for all the individuals. Now, related to this section, I have just tried to guide you that the information which has passed, that was a generic information, but first you need to know what is this section all about, how the misuse is going on, how we can actually prevent the misuse of certain laws or certain sections, what strict adherence should be made, what is gender neutrality all about, and much more information and much more discussions should be done on misuse of dowry laws in India, increasing divorce cases filed for alimony, harassment, extortion through false legal cases by women. Justice is due, the ending words of Atul Subhash. That is a big domain to discuss, and I'll be discussing about it in my next videos. Mental harassment of males, gender neutrality, alimony, not to punish husbands but to support wife. I tell you what is all about. We all know that if there is a legal separation, the male, the person, the husband has to give the alimony to the women. The husband might be earning 10 lakh per month, but he's not supposed that the alimony should be to give a wife at least a support. It is not that the girl should demand, I would demand 6 lakhs per month. No, she doesn't have that right. It is to sustain for her survival how much amount is required. Whatever city she is living, whatever the amount is required. It can be he's providing her 1 lakh per annum, or it is 50,000. It has nothing to play the role of his salary. Remember it out, guys. What does it actually say? Now see, you remember that Subhash Atul, he was from Bihar. He married Nikita in 2019 and they met on some kind of a matchmaking site. The couple had son in 2020 and the relationship, they started detroiting out in 2021. Nikita left the home with the child. Subhash alleged to his in-laws demand of 1 crore was made at the start, which gradually increased to 3 crores and to settle the disputes. Now the note which he has revealed about the Subhash grievances, that repeatedly says, and that is justice is due, guys. He accused Nikita and her family of filing false cases, including allegations of unnatural sex, murder, while engaging in prolonged legal battles in family courts and UP. Now, recounting courtroom incidents, a wife made demands for money. Now, this is very important because even the judge who was listening to their case, even she laughed at that moment. And what was the thing about? The Atul told that he was not able to give the wife the money. Atul told that, no, I cannot give this much amount to you. The girl didn't repeatedly. Nikita told that, why don't you end your life then? And the judge was laughing in the court over the statement. Is not this torture if in a whole room the judge is laughing on you and the lady, the woman, she's making a remark, oh, why don't you die? All these remarks and all these things are accusations on the judge also, and that is why there was that the sensitization to the judges should also be made, that in case, and the court cases should be addressed, if it is from district it should be addressed to high court also. So not all men are culprits, let them also get some legal immunity to present their case and prove that they are right. So basically, the Supreme Court has previously voiced apprehension about the misuse of section of 498A in Penal Code, which addresses cruelty by a husband or his relatives against a married woman. Now, through this, I wanted to guide you what is this section all about. It was meant for the protection of the married woman against the cruelty which might be made in case by her husband, by her in-laws. And through this, now where I am addressing is that in another ruling this week, Justice B.V. Nagarathan and N. Koteswar Singh dismissed a dowry harassment case, observing that the provision is sometimes exploited as a weapon for personal vendetta. So many a times we have seen that there can be a false play from the another party, and you need to be beware from that. Referring to such misuse, the bench noted while the law aims to protect women from abuse, it is also essential to ensure it is not weaponized unjustly against the husband or his family. It should not be used as a weapon to actually harm them, but actually to protect the lady, it should be used. The next is, what are the Supreme Court Justice's alimony guidelines? What is alimony all about? Even I'll be discussing about all these things in detail because this is something in news right now. If you want to discuss, if you want to have an information, you should be thoroughly encouraged to know about these things. What was the alimony guidelines? So there is a debate over misuse of dowry laws following the death of Bangalore-based techie Atul Subhash. December 9, he committed suicide in Bangalore apartment, leaving behind 80 minutes video and 24-page note. He had made a detailed video, and I think that many of you might have heard about it. In these, he accused his wife Nikita and her family of harassment and extortion through false legal cases. Now, the Supreme Court has issued a detailed guidelines across the country while deciding what are the grounds in which you can avail the alimony, on what grounds it should be availed. So, deciding factor of this, and court has highlighted framework that should ensure the fairness. It is necessary to ensure that and promote a permanent alimony should not penalize the husband, but should aim to ensure a decent standard of living for the wife. The way I told you at the very start, the husband might be earning in lakhs, but what is the need of yours for the survival of the lady, for the survival of the wife? That is what is a deciding factor of alimony, and you cannot demand as much as you can. That's not the right ground. Also, there are 8 factors which includes it out: the social and economic status of the husband and wife, basic future needs of the wife and children, education qualifications, employment status of both husband and wife, income sources, property owned by each party, the wife's standards of living during her time at the in-laws house, whether the wife left her job to take care of family responsibilities, and legal cost for a wife without independent income. That was all through which I wanted to guide you through this video. I tried to address the case which is recent in news, and as I mentioned at the very start, I don't know where we all are leading, because every other day, if such cases are more, we are going to never make our country a developed one. We are never going to make our future generations a happy one. We need to have more of the harmony, more of the faith, and the faith on the laws should be there. It should be encouraged. Before you are understanding the generic content of anything, be aware about the facts which the person presents. Be aware that what are the social grounds on what the things can be discussed. So guys, this was all from my side, and in my next videos I'm going to discuss about certain other things which this news actually has mentioned about, and lots of other things. All the best guys, keep preparing and take care. Have a good day.